PocaTV Wenzzzday.
So we're live. Good evening, DJC. How are you doing today? It's
I'm
afternoon
not.
for you.
Yeah, I'm not so bad, thank you. Last week we had rain. Today, the opposite: blue sky, sunshine, beautiful.
Blessed you, blessed you. Let me
Mm.
just see if I managed to. Yes, I did share this on my Facebook. If you wish to share it now, because people actually watch it better
I
on
did. I
Facebook.
already did.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
So blessed to you. It's very, very hot here in the Netherlands.
you should try being here.
Yeah, I know, but I believe that the feeling of hotness is worse here in the Netherlands than it is in
No, it
Jamaica.
probably
So
is more stuffy where you are,
it's
and
yeah, especially in this apartment because
right.
I have a flat roof, etc., etc. It's exhausting. Never
I
mind.
I have a flat roof too right now,
Oh yes, you do, but you have a fan running and I don't.
and I have the breeze from the wind,
Mm,
a sea breeze. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Well, may I say you look particularly well today,
Oh, thank you very much.
and
And yeah, and you too. Like the
thank you.
outfit, like the top, and the
Thank you,
dots.
thank you, thank you. So many pleasantries at the start of this new Wednesday thing, which is
Mm.
that weekly program in which DJ Conscious of Conscious Radio and I, myself, Poca of Poca TV, Poca Radio, Poca Dies, and many other things Poca related, uh, we kind of talk about the stuff that worries us, that excites us, that makes us feel happy or makes us feel really sad. And we do that every Wednesday evening, which is why we call this the Wenzzzday Ting. And I would love it if everybody would join us in the comment section, either on YouTube or on Facebook, and let us know that you are watching. Okay, so I know there's a couple of you watching now. Just send us a comment so we know you are there. Let me welcome you officially comment wise. So let me just type that in. Welcome all. There you go. There you go. That's done. Yeah, we both have a topic like we did last week and like we will every week from now on. And today our topics are rather far apart, right, DJ?
Yeah, not necessarily geographically, but
Mm,
but in
mhm.
terms of what they're about, yes,
Yeah,
they
in
are.
terms of the mood they will convey.
Mm.
Let me put up for the people who would love to even join us here on the show, live on screen like DJ and myself are. You can either
Uh-huh.
scan that QR code that you see down there, or if you're on a laptop, which we much prefer, please use Chrome and then enter the URL you see down there. It's case sensitive Wenzzzday 02. It's episode 2. So either way, just join us here in the studio if you have something to say about today's topics. So this is the part where I ask you what your topic is today, DJ.
The topic, my topic today is not the cheeriest of topics, as
Mm-mm,
you alluded to.
mm,
Um, it's really about a worrying trend about child murders
mm.
in Jamaica. Um,
Yes.
and it's a hot topic at the moment because last Thursday, an 8-year-old girl named Danielle Rowe from St. Catherine was abducted after school with her younger 4-year-old brother.
Mm,
Um, the next thing we know, I think it was the following day, they were flung from a car. She had a slashed throat, bruising, a distended bowel, uh, and she was rushed to hospital, and she eventually died with teardrops on her face.
oh.
Her brother was unharmed.
Her brother was
Um,
unharmed. Has he been found, the brother?
yeah. He was flung out of the car with her at the same time. Now, I mean, the father um, of Danielle is a police officer, but that police officer is not the father of the brother. So
Mm-hmm.
the brother, so Danielle and the brother share the same mother but different fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's hearsay. That's all I've got to go on at the moment. There are rumours that it could well be that the father is actually the culprit. Recently, the mother took him to court for non-payment of child support
Yeah.
for Danielle, and people are saying that could well be a motive. I mean, it's a ridiculous motive, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
that could well be a motive for why he did it. If he did, the other
If he
interesting
did,
thing is that
allegedly. Mm-hmm.
allegedly, when she was in hospital, he didn't go to visit her. He
So
wasn't there.
hold on. Let's unpack this because
Mm.
it's so horrendous. We need to go step by step. So the children were abducted. You tell me
From school,
where from school.
at
Mm-hmm.
the school, after school at the school gates. So they were obviously waiting for whoever would normally come and collect them to take them home. I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming, yeah, and that's where they were abducted.
Yeah, and flung from a car. And at
Mhm.
that time, you're telling me Danielle was in a sorry state already.
Yes, she had a slashed throat, a distended bowel, um, and bruising.
So the bowel thing leads us to believe that she was also abused.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, of abuse of some sort. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And she died, I believe it was early Saturday morning. Poor little
Yeah. So
child.
she was in hospital for less than 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and they tried everything. Oh, clearly, we're told that the doctors tried everything they could
Mm-hmm.
to save her, but alas, they just couldn't manage it.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling for the boy as well because he's half her age.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing: a possible reason, if the father is involved in this, the father may have avoided going to hospital because he probably knew that the 4-year-old brother could well be there and he could identify him. He could be a potential witness, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the boy knows who the father is, so
Yeah, yeah.
that.
No, I know. I'm just surmising. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But this is when I started off by saying this is a worrying trend. Back in back in February in Hanover, which is another parish in Jamaica, a 9-year-old girl was killed after not returning home after school. I have no more information about that other than she was killed.
Yeah. It seems to be on the rise. This crime against children.
Mm.
It's been going on. To be honest, I think the pandemic kind of
Well,
upped the numbers.
last year there was you might remember this. There was an incident in Clarendon where a
Mm-hmm.
mother and her 4 children were stabbed to death. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
that one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the killer pleaded guilty, but claimed that he told a forensic psychiatrist that voices in his head had influenced him to commit
Yeah.
the crimes. The judge didn't buy that, and he didn't allow him to plead insanity,
Mm.
and he got 5 life sentences.
Yeah.
But again, it's
But
involving children, and
i-
that's
i- that seems to be the new trend, to put it very harshly. Um, and I do believe that the lockdowns that we had during the pandemic. It's easy to say in a country where I'm living, even here, we talked about this stuff, but people have a lot more space, and at least they have less worries than anybody in Jamaica would have during the pandemic. So the stress levels were enormous at the time in a country like Jamaica, and people cooped up together.
and not
And
only that, lockdowns in Jamaica lasted a lot longer than they did in Europe.
oh, much
A
longer, that
lot
too.
longer.
That too.
I had
And
daily curfews for months and months. You couldn't
yes.
go out after 7 at night for months.
So, I
That
mean,
kind of thing.
as long as I've been going to Jamaica, which is over
Mm.
35 years now, I've always known about crime rate, and I've
Yeah.
always kind of downplayed it when I was in Europe, because that's what people mention as, that's the first thing people say when you say that you love Jamaica so much. Yeah, what about crime? And then I used to say, yeah, there's a lot of crime, but there's a lot of crime in the Netherlands too, and this and that, and I walk
Well,
the streets and
I mean,
nothing
there's a
happens.
lot of, there's crime everywhere. There's murders. Every
Yeah,
country there are
but
murders.
with the numbers we're seeing now in Jamaica, I'm absolutely worried, because it's more than it used to be, and it's more savage than it used to be. I remember
Savage.
that church killing a couple of years ago, that slaughter that took place in a
Oh,
church.
Kevin Smith, the pastor. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are things we didn't used to see. We used to know people got gunned down, and we used to know people died from a stray bullet, and we used to know there was gang stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's the level of barbarism that really worries me. I wonder how you look at that.
Well, yeah, it is barbaric. And I mean, what is actually driving this? I mean, as
Mm,
you pointed out, pandemic and potential connections to mental health problems. I think
mm,
perhaps that's what you were alluding to.
yeah.
And that is a very credible possibility.
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
only I was reading today in Kenya, which I know is not
mm,
Jamaica. I don't know if you've seen this story, but in Kenya, a pastor on
mm.
that same subject ordered his followers, his flock, Christian flock, to starve themselves to death so that they could meet Jesus. And they did. 300 people have died in the name of thinking they're going to meet Jesus. And
DJ, the world has gone crazy,
it's
crazy,
bonkers.
crazy,
It's
bonkers.
bonkers.
Yeah, we got two comments from Adrian. Hi, Adrian. Thank you for
Oh, hi,
joining
Adrian.
us. Nice
Yeah.
to see you. And Rachna is watching as well, waving at us. Hi, Rachna. Lovely to see
Yeah.
you as well. A quick look at some numbers that I
Yeah.
collected with regards
Okay.
to.
So these are this is a graph showing murders over a period of time
Mhm,
in Jamaica, and you can see there was actually a peak. It has been worse than it is now in
mm,
terms of absolute numbers. But to give it some context, um, New York City has 3 times larger population than Jamaica. Yet
mhm.
there are 3 times more murders in Jamaica than there are in New York City.
Wow,
Just to
wow.
give you a flavour
Yeah.
of that context,
And
it's
New York isn't exactly the place that we think of as being peaceful and quiet. So that says a lot. That says a lot.
well,
So,
no, but the good news is when you look at the recent statistics, it mean both New York and Jamaica, the absolute numbers of murders are actually going down. It goes back to what you were saying about the savagery. It's
mhm.
if we had a graph based on savagery, or then that's clearly,
It would be way up.
well, that'd be
Yeah.
almost like a straight line up. Yeah, yeah.
So what's being done about this, if anything?
Well, I mean, the prime minister has said that the usual stuff. We're making every effort to find the
Blah blah
culprit.
blah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, all of that. However, what he has said, the prime minister, he said yesterday or the day before, that all primary schools will now in Jamaica will have CCTV cameras installed at the school entrances. What I didn't realise is that's already something already in place for high schools,
Hmm.
but now they're going to implement it in primary schools. And
In
obviously,
primary.
people are saying, "But how are you going to pay for that? It's very expensive."
Yeah.
And one of the responses that I've been privy to is that apparently England, the
Hmm.
UK, are going to help fund the payments or the purchases of these cameras, something to do with some sort of existing reparations agreement. It's very confusing,
Well,
but this
no,
is
it makes sense to me.
no, but in terms of why is it part of a reparations agreement? That's the
No,
bit
they'll just use that budget to do this, is what they probably mean.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's true.
But I
Again,
mean,
it's
what needs to be done, if you ask me, we need to look at the psyche of the Jamaican people. We need
mm,
to, because I know that's all we talk about in the Wild West where I am.
well,
Let's look at the mental health of the people. But once again, that's a money problem, and
well, then,
maybe,
go on, go on.
well, maybe the UK should be investing in that, because part of the trauma of the Jamaicans is directly
Well,
linkable to the history of the country.
the colonial history.
Yeah.
Uh, mm,
So maybe that would be a better place to start than CCTV camera.
Well, CCTV cameras can act as a deterrent. I mean, if it's gonna
Has
save
it ever helped
one
though? Has it ever helped, DJ?
well, who knows? Because if the CCTV cameras weren't there in the high schools, then maybe more crimes would have been committed. So the only way you can track it is compare how it was before the cameras were installed, compare that with crime rates after, and if they've gone down, then you can say, yeah, that the cameras have done their job for being a deterrent.
All right, maybe so. Maybe I'm just cynical, and maybe my heart is just broken because of this.
No, I'm cynical
this
as well.
Horrific story. Yeah,
that's just how it is, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's very disturbing, and I think also
last comment.
Yes, I can
DJ,
see the time.
Yes.
And I think dancehall music really needs to be looked at. I'm not saying ban it. I don't think you should ban any form of music, and how you're going to control that anyway. But what I'm saying is, I think those involved with dancing who put out lyrics glorifying violence, glorifying misogyny, glorifying even rape and guns and all of that, I think there should be there's a lot to be said.
I fully agree with that. It works on the side of the males and it works on the side of the females, because the females in dancehall, it's ludicrous the way they dress. Somebody should tell them to go put on some clothes and to
put on
stop
some clothes,
wagging their bum in everybody's face.
Yeah, I know. But it's and women and a lot of the culprits of murders these days are not just men. I'm pretty sure that female murderers are on the up.
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
So let me quickly put up the QR code again for people who might want to join the conversation, and let me put up the URL, and then we're going to switch topics, DJ. Yeah. Anybody wishing to join the live stream right now, go to the URL on your laptop or scan the code on your phone and join us. Just follow the prompts. It will take you to the studio. You follow the prompts, put in your name, enter the studio, and we will find you here and let you talk with us. If you have anything interesting.
It'd be great to have a three or even 4 or 5-way conversation.
It could be lovely if only people joined. So okay. I think it's time to switch topics now, and I'm glad to say.
Yes, your topic is intriguing. It's been in the news, in the world news.
And it's a happy topic.
Well, it's a kind of happy topic because.
Well, it's not fully happy, but I mean, it's a miracle, that's for sure. I want to quickly share, because I haven't seen much of it on the news here in Holland. I'd like to quickly share the wonderful story of the 4 children who survived a plane crash over the jungle in Colombia, and they survived it, and they were out there for, I believe it was a month. To bring everybody up to speed, here's a news item from, I believe it was yesterday.
Relief and joy as the grandparents of 4 children lost in Colombia's Amazon jungle for more than 5 weeks learned their little ones had been found alive. I am very grateful, and to Mother Earth as well, that they were set free, said their grandmother. Reunited with their father on the way to a Bogota hospital, the siblings ages 13, 9, 4, and 1 are dehydrated, unable to eat, and have injuries from walking in the rugged rainforest for 40 days. But doctors say there's progress. The siblings are starting to play. Called Operation Hope, authorities say the 3 girls and 1 boy survived the May 1st Cessna crash that killed their mother and both pilots. During the weeks-long search, soldiers say they found a baby bottle, diaper, and a child's tiny footprint, promising signs the children were still out there. It's not known exactly how they were able to stay alive, but the indigenous children had some survival skills. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro saying the siblings are an example of survival that will go down in history.
Yeah, man, what a story.
I know. Can you imagine this happening?
Well, it's like a Hollywood disaster epic. Really?
This will become a movie, that's for sure. They're going to make
They
a
already,
movie about this.
yeah, they've already written the script.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
sure.
already have the what you call them, the sure, what's the word,
I don't know.
the starring actors. What's
Oh,
the
the
word?
cast. The
The
cast.
cast. That's right, the cast.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let's break this down a little. So that little plane crashed in the jungle. I mean,
Mm.
that's not like a little forest that you have in Europe or
No,
in
this is
America. This is a
hardcore. This
proper
is the
proper
Amazon
hardcore
jungle.
jungle.
Yeah, man.
And like we heard, the pilots died, and so did the mother of the babies. I call them babies because the eldest is 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And so they were there in the middle of the woods. These were indigenous children. I've become to understand.
Yeah, but
So they,
yeah, go on.
yeah,
Certain
go on.
tribe, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which tribe actually.
It begins with
Uh,
H. I forget.
yeah,
It's six letters, I think. Anyway.
yeah, but they do know their forest or their jungle, because what happened is they walked around for days. They made a shelter out of hair bands and leaves, and
Wow.
a pair of scissors were found. They used for rope. What did they use for rope? I think they used hair for rope to tie their shelter together. And
Brilliant.
top right, you see
Yeah,
fruit that.
I heard they from the plane wreckage, they actually managed to find a tarpaulin or one,
That's right.
and that's what they used for shelter for their tent. That's what I read.
Aren't they
I know, it's
clever?
amazing. And you said they because they've been brought up in that kind of environment, they knew which fruits to eat and which ones were poisonous and therefore not to eat. So they kind of survived that way. I read that I think Les, the 13-year-old, I think that's her
Mm-hmm.
name.
Mm-hmm.
She had an empty water bottle or something, and she used to go and take that to a local river, fill it up, and that's how she managed to give water to herself and the other three children. But for me, one of the most heartbreaking moments has to be when the mother says to the four children, "Go and save yourselves,"
Yeah,
or words to
that's
that effect, because she knew she was dying, and apparently it was 4 days
um,
after the crash
yeah.
that she
So,
died for
so so the mother
4 days.
lived a couple of days, but
Yeah.
I think that's what a mother does. A mother does want her children to be safe, and but they even made not a porridge, but they made flour out of cassava. They found cassava and they made
Yeah,
flour and they
yeah.
baked bread. I can't believe it. So let me
They
just
lived, they lived
let
on
me just
flour for
call
a
their
long time.
names, because
Yeah,
we need to big up these children. The 13-year-old is Leslie, like you said.
yeah.
The 9-year-old is Soleini. The 4-year-old is Tien. And the infant, not yet a year old, is Christine. And their last name is Mukutui. Big up these children. So I believe they're doing okay-ish for now. I mean, they definitely need
Well,
to recover from this, I guess.
well, they're still in a special. I think they're still in hospital being monitored
Mm-hmm.
because apparently they picked up some infections,
Yeah,
which is inevitable when you're in a place like the Amazon jungle.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
need to keep an eye on that. But I also, but by the way, on this graphic, the top
Mm.
right, the green, is that a piece of fruit?
That's a piece of fruit, and that's one of the clues for the search team. They found several pieces of fruit that were bitten
Yeah,
into by humans, because that's somebody can tell that. And
yeah,
they found different fruits, and they found a diaper, and they found baby footsteps in the mud.
right, right.
Oh my goodness. And so they knew and of course they had rescue dogs looking with them as well.
And one of those rescue dogs named Wilson has gone missing.
Oh
Did you read that story?
no.
There were four children. Of the four children, one of them, I think it was one of the younger ones. When
Mm-hmm.
he got back to, or at some point, possibly when he got back to, went to the hospital, he made a drawing of a dog to distribute to search teams to go and find this dog. He was a sniffer dog.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had the scent of the children. He was trying to help find them.
Oh
But
wow.
he did help find them, but he's gone missing. And so all of a sudden, this drawing of this dog is with all these. I'm assuming they're still searching for the dog. That's what.
Well, I hope they find the dog, because
Wilson is his name. Yeah.
Wilson, because that reminds me of another story I read about your little girl, poor little Danielle. Her dog hasn't eaten since she died. I read that this morning.
Raw. So the dog
I
knows
know.
what the dog knows. It's a sad time.
Yeah, that's right.
The dog's caught
Yeah.
onto the vibe, basically. Yeah.
But our surviving children, if we zoom out worldwide, DJ, let's compare children like that to any child in the West. You say it, because I'm only going to be cynical. You know me.
Well, most child in the West probably wouldn't have survived.
No, they wouldn't.
In the South American, rainforest, they probably wouldn't have survived. They'd have to be very lucky.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they're not built that way, are they? I mean, especially nowadays.
But they're not brought up like that. As we said, these children, they come from that kind of environment. So, they knew what was okay to eat and what wasn't. You take some children from England or Netherlands or Germany or France, they might make some mistakes and eat the wrong fruit, and then
they'd probably be whining, "I want my PlayStation."
Well, yeah,
it's not fun in the jungle.
Yeah, well,
it's true though.
I think something like that can change someone's mindset quite quickly, I would imagine, because it's desperate, even for children. They know when they tend to know when things are desperate.
That is true. That is true. Adrienne says, "Don't get me started on European children." I won't, Adrienne.
Yeah. Too late, Adrienne.
Yeah, too late. Well, I didn't make children, so I'm not to blame. I blame everybody else for not raising their children properly.
Yeah.
So what do we learn from today's Wenzzzday Ting, DJ?
Well, the common factor is that both topics are about children, primarily.
Yeah.
Now, can we take something from the Colombia episode to what happened in Jamaica, and how I don't think there's anything that poor Danielle probably could have done.
She probably fought for her life. Really, she probably did.
Well, I mean, she probably went into the car in the first place all innocently, thinking it was okay, because it was her father. I mean, come on.
If it was, we cannot go saying it was her father, but if it was, yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right. Yes, yes. Allegedly, her father.
Allegedly, yeah. No, but really, what I take away from this is, for God's sakes, parents, keep your children close, or don't have them.
Well, this also begs another question. In Europe, for example, and possibly in the US, I'm not sure, but for primary schools, children can only be collected from an authorized person.
Yeah.
And they have to show ID. They are, it's either the mother or the father, or brother or sister, or if it's not family, it has to be someone who has been authorized to collect that. And they have to show ID to prove that they are that person.
I don't know how that is in Jamaica.
No, that doesn't exist in Jamaica.
Did you check? Because I really don't know.
No, I know that it does for primary. No, it does not exist.
Okay.
As far as I know, it doesn't.
Well, it should.
It should, but it's a whole heap of extra work for them to manage.
Yeah,
it's a database of people.
You know what? You know what, DJ? It's a whole heap of work to bury all these children.
I know. No, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it because it's a whole heap of work. I'm saying it's just a whole heap of work, but they'll have to do it. They should do it. That's what I'm saying.
And I guess parents, whether it's in Jamaica or elsewhere, I do think that, parents want it all these days. Like they want the big house and the big car, and they want the 2.5 children. They want 2 holidays a year. They want money in the bank. That's not life. That's not how it works. You choose. People, you just choose. And if you choose to have a family, you got to damn well do the work. It's a lot of work to have a family, which is why I don't have one. But if you choose, be the parent. Make sure your babies are okay. unless it's a huge accident like a train crash. And then even then, that mother stayed alive 4 days, hoping probably that she'd make it so she could take care of her babies. And in the end, she told them to go because otherwise they would be dead too now. I just don't know what to say to parents. You take it from here, because I'm just getting all worked up.
Well,
Nobody's
I'm not a parent either, but there's a custody battle already going on about these children in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
There's a custody battle, and the father of two of them apparently has been accused of domestic violence, and so already they're fighting over. It's the same family are fighting over who's going to get which children to care for. To me, that again, it should be unity.
It should be about the children and not about anybody else.
Yeah.
What's
and saying?
Adrienne says they WhatsApp mommy and daddy and they lay down and die. No survival skills. That's still talking about the European children.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you for your deep comments, Adrienne. Yeah, DJ, it's time to round up. Anything we can just kind of say to round up this program?
Well, I mean, at the moment, as things stand, as far as Jamaica's concerned, I think the children just try and be safe. Just be as wise as you can, and do not welcome strangers into your life.
It's not always strangers.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I know, but then it's hard, really difficult, almost impossible to control, isn't it?
Which is why I say it should be the parents themselves.
Yeah, the parents have to take responsibility. The parents should be accountable and take responsibility for what happened to Danielle.
That's right.
Really and truly, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if the mother ever heard this, she probably wouldn't be very happy with that statement. But so it go.
And I'm building in the fact that she might not have a choice because she might, have to make a money somewhere. I don't know, but the fact is, horrific stuff is happening. It's on the rise. It's getting more and more sordid. What we read in the papers, and
there's one other angle towards another possible cause.
Quick.
Is all what you see on social media, the clips of this and that on TikTok or Instagram, all the different, so many movies are being made, which even though they have 18, they rated 18, children get round them, they watch them, and parents know it. So that needs to be, that's not a good thing either.
And games aren't the best way to raise your child either.
Well, games like Grand Theft Auto and that kind of thing, which is probably the most popular game in the world, and it's all about gangsters and drug wars and things.
Yeah.
That says a lot. It speaks volumes.
We need to change culture. Let's put it that way. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me. We'll be back next week with fresh topics. I don't know yet what, but we'll come up with a topic each next week.
Yeah.
And it will be the two of us talking, ranting, sighing, being unhappy or happy again. All right?
Yeah. All right. Looking forward. Yeah.
So am I. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
PocaTV.